Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and guys, tonight we're taking a look at the game recaps for the night of, I think it's October 18th. Wow, we're already halfway through October. We had 4 hockey games tonight. We're going to be going over 2 of them, and the other 2, the later games, we're doing it a little bit earlier tonight, but we're going to go over the first period of both of those games. So make sure to stay tuned for that as we go along. So we're going to start off with the 2 games on the East Coast. The 7 o'clock starts tonight. The first one was the Seattle Kraken continuing their road trip to start the season. They headed out east, and they are now heading to Philadelphia, where they had a date with the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. This date didn't go so well for the Seattle Kraken, to say the least. Not a great impression for them on the road. Just not a great game overall for the Kraken. You had Philip Grubauer and Carter Hart as the starting goaltenders in between the pipes for both teams. A couple of interesting guys on the scratch pad. Philadelphia defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen has not played a game yet to start the season for the Flyers. He has missed both games to start the regular season, as well as Seattle Kraken defenseman Vince Dunn. He was also scratched tonight. He has not played yet as a Seattle Kraken. Early on in the game, there was chances for both teams. It was a pretty back and forth start. There was a couple breakaways each way to start before teams started to settle in. Carter Hart made this save that it kind of set the tempo for the game. It was like, how did he get that? I don't know, but he made a miraculous save early in this game, and that kind of got things going for the Flyers, gave them some momentum. And not too long after that, the Philadelphia Flyers, a tic-tac-toe back and forth around the blue line, and Claude Giroux just fires it off into the back of the net behind Philip Grubauer. Just a nasty goal by Giroux. A really nice goal to start this thing for him. Giroux, if I'm not mistaken, that's his second goal of the season. A big goal there, a slap shot, one-timer-ish goal. Very high up. A shot that Grubauer probably should have had. But there you go. And Travis Konechny with the assist. Now, just 3 minutes later, less than 3 minutes later, Travis Konechny would score a goal of his own. His second of the season. Again, not the best goal, but a goal that gives some momentum to the Philadelphia Flyers. He already had a goal and an assist in this game just over halfway through the first period. And again, this is his second goal of the season already. And it's only the second game of the season for the Flyers. So 82 goals for Travis Konechny. Could we see it happen? Just maybe. So we'll see what happens. But a fluky third goal off of, I think it was Carson Soucy. Derek Brassard just threw the puck at the net, right? What do they always say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's a Wayne Gretzky quote. Well, he took a shot at the net. Carson Soucy happened to be standing there. He'll tell you he did it on purpose. Probably not, but Derek Brassard, his first of the season. He had a rough season last year in Arizona. Had a couple good seasons with the Islanders before that. So you knew he was looking to get off to a nice start here in Philly. He seems to be doing that early on. One of those late signings by the Flyers here in the beginning of training camp. I think that was a great move, and we're seeing it pay off. So like I said, 3 goals in the first period now for the Flyers. So Giroux and Konechny both get their second goal of the season, and Derek Brassard his first of the season. It's 3-0 Philadelphia at the end of the first period. Second period, we see a couple of homecoming guys get on the board. Joel Farabee's second assist of the season. Derek Brassard, his first assist of the season, as well as his first goal. And Ryan Ellis from the Nashville Predators, a big trade, a 3-way trade with the Predators and the Golden Knights. Ryan Ellis, now a member of the Flyers, gets his first in the orange and black with the Flyers, making it 4-0 Philadelphia. The Flyers just trampled it on. Justin Braun from Van Riemsdyk and Lindblom. Another nasty goal. Both those goals really weren't that pretty. The Ellis goal was kind of the Seattle Kraken were kind of caught watching the puck, and Ellis kind of was sliding from the top of the circle, the top of the blue line, kind of sliding his way in toward the top of the circle and found himself open. But that goal, the fourth goal, really unacceptable. Really, both of them were kind of fluky goals, but not a great one. Actually, Mark Giordano, before that fifth goal, actually had to make a save for himself. in front of Grubauer because he's like, this guy can't make saves. I guess I have to make them for him. It was one of those nights for Grubauer, just not his night. It happens sometimes, but not a great game for Grubauer. The Flyers were it was a full-on firing range from the end of the second period into the third period, even halfway into the second. They had so many posts. I could have counted at least half a dozen, probably 6 or 7 in this game for the Flyers. They definitely could have made this score worse than it ended up being. A nasty rebound by Philip Grubauer. Again, just a shot that he just went off the end of his pad, kicked it right to Joel Farabee, who scores once again. Joel Farabee has had a great start to the season, his second of the season, from Cam Atkinson and Derek Brassard. So a couple of new guys getting assists tonight. And it ends up being 6-1 for the Flyers. Carson Soucy did score 2 goals tonight. He scored 1 on his own net, and he scored his first of the season for the Seattle Kraken. And it was one of those games, just not a pretty result for the Seattle Kraken, just not good enough. The 3 stars of the game: Carter Hart, first star of the game, Derek Brassard, and Nick Seeler. God, this guy, he's been plugging. He is a guy that's been all over the place, so congrats to Nick Seeler. He's been bouncing around the league and been a little bit of a journeyman. You look at the face-off stats, not pretty here for the Seattle Kraken. 61.5% on the face-off circle for the Flyers, only 38.5% for Seattle. Just not going to cut it. The Kraken were 0 for 4 on the power play. Again, just not good enough. They had a bad start to the game, outshot 16-8 at the end of the first period. There was just way too many things that just were not good enough for the Seattle Kraken. And after this video, I'm actually going to make a video on the Kraken for later this week because they have not looked good to start this season. I know. The expectations were fairly low for this team. But guys, they are 1-2-1 to start this season. And they've given themselves some opportunities. That Vegas game could have been had, right? Had they not had such a slow start to the game. The Nashville game, they found a way to put it all together. And now coming to the East Coast, things have just not gone well for this Kraken team. And here they are. They find themselves 1-2-1 on the season. The Flyers, on the other hand, a lot more positive through their first 2 games of the season. Yes, they did lose their first game, but they did pick up points in that game against the Vancouver Canucks. So they lost that one in a shootout, I believe, or an overtime. So they have 3 out of a possible 4 points to start the season. Not bad for the Flyers. Definitely could be a lot worse. The goal scoring is coming from everywhere. It's coming from Farabee, Giroux, what's his name? Konechny. Seeing those guys get on the board is absolutely huge for the Flyers. The depth is getting goals. You're seeing goals from guys like Brassard. Just really good stuff for the Philadelphia Flyers. But with that said, I still have some questions about Carter Hart. He still looked a little bit uncomfortable tonight at points. He made some miraculous saves, but there were some that you were like, what is he doing? So still looking a little bit off his structure, and I think that will pick up as the season goes along, as he builds confidence, probably from games like this. That will make a world of difference for a guy like Carter Hart throughout the year. So at the end of the day, it's a 6-1 victory for the Flyers, and a lot of questions to be answered in Seattle. So now we're going to the other game on the East Coast, a 7 o'clock start at Scotiabank Arena. This game was a pretty big one. The first game for Austin Matthews this season. In game number 4 of the season, Austin Matthews makes his debut for the Leafs. He had a couple of games where he had off-season wrist surgery. He missed the first 3 games of the season, and he was ready to go tonight. And that was the big storyline going into this one. Shesterkin, the starter for the Rangers, and Campbell, the starter for the Leafs. That was really the big storylines, as well as for me, if you guys have been watching these game recaps, I absolutely appreciate it if you have. I've talked a lot about these two teams being very similar to each other through the first couple games of the year, and here we go. We get to see them match up early on in the season. So, and that was my big question. Who would have the good start to this game? Because both these teams so far early on have struggled to have that good start to a game. And since then, they have, both of their last games were a good start. But other than that, they were struggling those first 2 games. I think it was important for both of these squads to get an early start. And the Rangers take an early penalty. Barclay Goodrow, not a great penalty, kind of gave some momentum to the Leafs. And the New York Rangers hit two posts in the first period. Now that second post from Mika Zibanejad ends up getting reviewed, and it ends up being a goal for the Rangers. That would be their first goal in the first period this season. It took Game 4 for the Rangers to get their first goal in the first period, and it was a big one for the Rangers, as that would be the only goal they would get in regulation tonight. The Rangers would score, and then Michael Bunting got a goal in the second period. This kid is absolute money for the Leafs so far, and he gets another goal, adding some depth scoring for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Shesterkin looked really good tonight for the Rangers. He didn't have a great first game against the Dallas Stars. He gave up 2 goals. He looked a little bit out of sorts. Not tonight. He looked really solid. He was kind of flailing all over the place, but he was making the saves. That's all that matters, right? You make the stops. Nobody really thinks about it. You just got to make sure you make the saves. And he was able to do that. And not to be outdone, though, Jack Campbell looked really solid in this game. It was more the Igor Shesterkin show in the second period, as the Leafs had so many chances in this game, but they were unable to finish. And the Rangers' defense kind of looked a little bit out of sorts and kind of collapsed at points in this game. But the Leafs were unable to finish. There were a couple of, growing moments for Marner and Matthews. The patience with the puck, just not firing it right away. I did like seeing that, but they weren't able to get that puck in the back of the net. And again, whether that's Shesterkin just playing, standing on his head, or is that the Leafs just not scoring the goals? It could be a combination of both, right? And that's when we get into Jack Campbell in the third period. He absolutely gave the Leafs a chance in this game. There were more than a couple opportunities that were very uncomfortable if you were a Leafs fan, because they were just giving up odd man rushes. And Jack Campbell, at the very least, was able to bail them out and keep them in this game. But there were definitely some questionable plays as this game was going on. You saw Nylander and Matthews could not score a goal in overtime. It looked like they should have finished it at least twice. They couldn't get it done. Matthews looking at the rafters, a little bit frustrated. You could see that little bit of angst already in Game 1 of the season for Matthews. But, man, that building, I got to tell you, it's freakishly quiet in not Maple Leafs Garden, Scotiabank Arena. It was very eerily quiet, because I think these fans have just seen this story before, and a game where the Leafs were really kind of outplaying the Rangers. They outshot them. They had more possession time than them. At the end of the day, it was still a 1-1 game in overtime, and anything can happen, especially in the NHL. There's too much parity in the league for when you go to overtime to be 100% certain that you're going to get it done. And that's kind of what happened tonight. The New York Rangers end up pulling through late in overtime. Artemi Panarin, a face-off tie-up. Zibanejad got the puck, passed it to Panarin. Panarin puts it right in. He snipes it right over Jack Campbell's arm, short side, and that ends up being the difference. And the Rangers win this game. Definitely a frustrating, crushing defeat for the Leafs, because like I said, they played a good game tonight. It's not like they were bad and the Rangers just outplayed them and beat them. Shots, 41 for the Leafs. Shots for the Rangers, 23. They absolutely outshot them. You look at the face-off dot, the Leafs won 75.9% of the face-offs compared to the Rangers, who won only 24.1% of their face-offs. Both power plays were held without a goal, 0 for 3 on the power play for both sides, and they were both pretty disciplined, each getting 3 penalties tonight. But at the end of the day, the Rangers win the game. And that's it. That's all you have to say. Yes, the Rangers were outplayed. Yes, the Rangers had more defensive breakdowns, but they win the damn hockey game. And at the end of the day, that's all anybody cares about anyway. So a huge win for the Rangers. They find a way to win a game that they maybe didn't play their best. But hey, what do we talk about for the good teams in the league or the playoff teams in the league? Is a team that maybe doesn't have their best game, but they're just able to find a way to win the hockey game. And that's what the Rangers were able to do tonight. Now, the good news is for the Leafs, they have picked up a point in 3 of their first 4 games to start the season. Now, remember, those first 3 games were without Austin Matthews. So there is reason to still be optimistic as a Leafs fan. They're 2-1-1, as the same is for the Rangers. They're both 2-1-1 this season. The Rangers on a little bit of a streak here. They just beat the Habs on the road in Montreal, and then they go to Toronto and they take care of the Toronto Maple Leafs on the road. 2 huge victories for the Rangers, picking up 4 out of a possible 4 points so far on this little road trip. Just absolutely huge for the Rangers. Build some confidence for this team, and that could be dangerous for the Metropolitan Division if we see a Rangers team that is surging early in the season. There's definitely some concern for that. Now, the next time we'll see the Rangers get a couple nights off. They will play Thursday night at 8 o'clock in Nashville. That's the next time we'll see the Rangers. And then they go up to Ottawa, a 1 o'clock matinee game on Saturday. So the Rangers, continuing that road trip, they just got to find a way to win hockey games. And these are 2 very winnable games. Again, you just beat the Habs and the Leafs, probably the 2 better of the teams in this road trip. And then you head to Nashville and Ottawa, 2 teams that are kind of in flux. The Rangers could come out of here with a 4-game winning streak after a slow start. That could be huge for the Rangers going into the month of November, which we're already talking about at this point because the season is moving very quickly, guys. If you haven't noticed, huge win for the Rangers. And again, a setback for the Leafs, but again, now you have Matthews back. They should be okay. Now, with that said, we get to the later games. Now, they're at the end of the second period in Anaheim. We've got the Anaheim Ducks up in Calgary. Blake Coleman got his first goal as a Calgary Flame. Cam Fowler and Elias Lindholm would score. So Lindholm got his second of the season, Fowler's first of the season. It's 2-1 Calgary toward the end of the second period. The Flames are out shooting the Ducks almost double, 28-15. It's been a pretty dominant game for the Flames so far. It was Gibson and Markstrom in to start this game. Manson and Lindholm got into a little scuffle with Matthew Tkachuk early in this game. The Anaheim defense, they broke down a little bit. They give up that goal to Blake Coleman. Zegras actually showed a snippet of him frustrated on the bench. So it's probably good that we're seeing that because it shows he cares and he's not just, all right, we're just going through the motions. No, he cares. He is a competitive guy. I like seeing that from Trevor Zegras. So I definitely wanted to point that out. And halfway through the first period, we saw another scrum in front of the Anaheim net. It seems like the Flames, Daryl Sutter has been pretty much the way he did things with the Los Angeles Kings. You got to find a way to just kind of get in front of the goalie and just cause a lot of issues in front of John Gibson. And it seems to be working. Calgary's had a lot of pressure at the end of the first, a lot of pressure here in the second period. They've been pretty dominant. And right now, it seems like they should win this game. Again, there's still the third period, but a pretty good first 2 periods for Calgary. Out on, really on the far west coast, we have the Arizona Coyotes in their home opener hosting the St. Louis Blues. They're wearing the white Kachinas. I had to shout that out because those are some beautiful unis there for the Coyotes. A 9:30 matchup there. A 10 o'clock matchup in Arizona. Jordan Binnington versus Carter Hutton. Carter Hutton did play in St. Louis a couple years back before signing that deal in Buffalo. A couple of storylines, like I said, the white Kachina jersey as the home jersey for the Coyotes. I like seeing that. We also saw Jake Neighbors and Klim Kostin in the lineup tonight for the St. Louis Blues. So seeing some of that young blood in the lineup, you got to like that as a Blues fan. The Arizona Coyotes got off to a quick start. That was a key thing for the Yotes. They haven't been able to do that here early in the season. It's important that they were able to do that in their home opener. They fed off the fans and the energy. No matter how many or how few of them there are in Arizona, they are still there. And they definitely made their presence noticed early in this game. The Arizona Coyotes get an early power play. So you're looking at this. You got Arizona quick start. Arizona early power play. What happens next? Arizona power play goal from Clayton Keller. That would be his second goal of the season. Both of them on the power play. So is that good? They're scoring on the power play, or is it bad because Keller's only scoring on the power play, not able to get it done 5-on-5? It's too early in the season to really worry about that, but it is good to seeing that the Coyotes power play is clicking a little bit, even if it's just from Clayton Keller. The Arizona Coyotes turnovers, though, did finally cost them just a couple minutes later. The St. Louis Blues would come back and tie this game. Pavel Buchnevich, his first goal as a St. Louis Blue on the West Coast, and Buchnevich was a huge loss for the Rangers, but a huge add for the St. Louis Blues. What is that saying? One man's trash, another man's treasure. That's what you're seeing here with Buchnevich in St. Louis. Just an absolutely critical add for the Blues, just to add some scoring depth. I think he's a huge upgrade over guys like Schwartz and Mike Hoffman. Just a great move there by Doug Armstrong this offseason. We saw a goal from the Coyotes in the second period from a guy maybe you wouldn't expect to see. Some depth scoring from the Yotes. Lawson Krause from Phil Kessel and Shane Gostisbehere, a snapshot, and it would make it 2-1 Coyotes. The Coyotes look pretty good so far, out shooting the Blues 15-9. The Coyotes are rolling on the power play, 1 for 3 on the power play as well, and they're doing well. They're just doing what they have to do, and just overall a solid game. Jacob Chychrun is already over 10 minutes of ice time, almost 11 minutes of ice time, not even halfway through the second period. You know how valuable he is to this Coyotes organization. And, yeah, so that is it for tonight's games. Just a quick recap. We got the Flyers dominant over the Seattle Kraken, a 6-1 victory in the Broad Street Bullies home building. The Rangers pull off the game in Toronto in Matthews' return to Toronto, his homecoming for the season. The Rangers win that one in overtime from Artemi Panarin. The Ducks and the Flames, a little bit of a feisty game there up in Calgary. We've seen that a couple times from the Flames early on this season. They are at the end of the second period in intermission. It's a 2-1 game for the Flames. And then the Arizona Coyotes and the St. Louis Blues just over halfway into the second period. Halfway through this game, it's a 2-1 score for the Coyotes. And they seem to be doing pretty well, getting a couple power play goals early this season. A little bit of confidence growing there in their home opener. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of tonight's action in the NHL? Let me know your thoughts down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.